here we are for the final regular season week of the NFL season. It is week 17. It's time to make all of the picks on this New Year's Day, Friday afternoon. If you're new here, this is the board. These are all the games that are coming up on this Sunday slate of final NFL action before the playoffs start. Here is my, record for last week and the year. Not too bad if I don't say so myself. I came on strong here in these last few weeks, getting about 10 to 11 games correct. So this will be the week that sort of bookends how I did picking all the games. I didn't make a playlist for all these videos, so if you want to see the other ones, I don't know why you would, but you can. They are up on the channel somewhere. So we'll see how we do. This is the last one. Sentimental feelings. And then, of course, we'll do playoff picks next week, which will be a little bit different, but it'll be a little bit easier. I can sort of talk more about each game because there's not 16 of them. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to the picks. Don't forget to leave a comment criticizing the picks, making picks of your own, or let me know just why you think one team is going to beat the other. So, without further ado, we have first up the Dolphins and the Bills. Dolphins are playing for their playoff lives, and the Bills have locked up the division. I don't care if any of the Bills get rested. I think that's still the team that's going to perform the best. Ryan Fitzpatrick not available for this one, so there will be no second half Fitzmagic if Tua doesn't play up to standards, which Tua hasn't played bad this year. Let's set the record straight before we go further. He hasn't played bad. He just hasn't played good. And that's why they keep benching him, because they need a spark on the offense. Because you look at the way the offense runs when he's in there, a lot of short intermittent passes versus Ryan Fitzpatrick, who when he goes in, it's like throw it down the field, sling it. So there's a difference in player and a difference in result. But I don't think it matters for this one. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I haven't heard anything about them resting players, so if I get that wrong, oh well. Next, we have the Ravens and the Bengals. It's been fun the last couple of weeks. Bengals, you really turned it on at the end of the month too late. But I think fans in Cincinnati are just waiting for next year to get reacquainted with Joe Burrow. I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one, and we're going to see a lot of J.K. Dobbins. Steelers and Browns. Steelers are resting a lot of players, having locked up a playoff position. Browns, if they win, they're in. And if they lose, they're going to need some help from various sources. I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one, just out of a hunch that I think that, this is one of the oldest rivals in the league. It's going to be one of the better rivals going forward now that the Browns have brought themselves up to relevancy. Nothing to be ashamed about a 10-win season, but if they get into the playoffs, it's just going to reignite everything. I don't think they're going to do it here. I'm going to say that Mason Rudolph is basically auditioning to keep his job this offseason. He's got a wonderful, group of weapons that he can showcase his talent and skills. So, and I think the Browns are just a little probably shell-shocked after losing to the Jets. They're going to get their wide receivers back for this game, but they still have had problems this week with COVID testing and causing the facility to be shut down a couple times. So I'm just going to go with the Steelers, the gut instinct. Vikings and Lions. Dalvin Cook will not be available for this game. The Vikings are down too many critical pieces at this point in the season. The injury list is just absurd at this point. Jalen Holmes and Odenigbo will both miss this game, so you're going to have DJ Wanneman, who the hell knows, at the other side rushing the passer for a defensive line that can't generate pressure anyway. So even if Matthew Stafford doesn't have Kenny Golladay or anybody else to throw to, he's going to have a million years to find somebody that gets open. So I expect the Lions to win this game, basically to cut it short. I think the Vikings are just missing too many players, and Mike Zimmer has already said he's going to use this week to evaluate the younger talent going forward into the offseason. So I don't expect much of anything. I think Justin Jefferson will get the yards he needs to break the rookie record. He'll get Rookie of the Year, and that's really the silver lining for the Viking season. And they're going to finish 6-10. I actually kind of hope for this scenario because it'll improve the Vikings draft stock. I know diehard fans don't want to lose any games, but if you want a better pick, if you're one of those people that are pounding the table for a new quarterback, this is the result you want. Next, we have the Jets and the Patriots. The Jets have an identity, and the Jets' identity is we're not as bad as you thought we are. The Patriots are worse than we thought they were. I'm going to go with the Jets to close out the season, getting a huge victory over the New England Patriots in this division and send Bill Belichick into a new dimension of pissed off that I'm sure we've never seen before. And I think that's going to unleash the monster in the offseason that is the Patriots, and figure out that they're going to need to do some different things next year where they can't rely on the next man up strategy anymore. The well has run dry. For the Cowboys and the Giants, Andy Dalton's good enough, man. Like, with these weapons, Andy Dalton's good enough. I don't know what the Giants have left in the tank. Um, the hilarious thing about the Giants in Week 17 is that their swing is monumental, right? If things go one way, they could wind up with a top 6 pick, I think is what it is. And if they swing another way, they're hosting a playoff game next week. So you're either picking top 10 or hosting a playoff game. This scenario is probably the best result for your team because you need a ton of stuff. What's the point in hosting a playoff game where you're going to get throttled anyway? So yeah, I'm going to pick the Cowboys here. Next, we have the Falcons and the Bucks. Last I heard, Raheem Morris is actually interviewing to take over full-time head coaching duties, which would be an interesting hire. But as far as the Falcons go, they still seem to be rather cursed when they get leads and then end up blowing them. I think Tom Brady and company are going to use this game to gear up for the playoffs, and they're going to get the win. Packers and Bears. Packers are playing to secure the number 1 overall seed. Bears are playing for the playoff spot. Neither team is taking their foot off the gas, but Aaron Rodgers is having an MVP season, whether we like it or not. So I'm going to go with the Packers here. Raiders and Broncos. Just a tough stroke of luck last week against the Dolphins for the Raiders. The Broncos are just in no man's land going into another offseason looking for another quarterback. Drew Lock is unfortunately not it. I think they need to move on. I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. Broncos end up with a higher draft pick. Jaguars and Colts. Jaguars fans have pretty much checked out now that they know that Trevor Lawrence is on their way. The Colts are going to win this one. Let's go with the Chargers and the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes isn't playing. It'll be Chad Henne at quarterback, which will be interesting. But I'm going to say that the Chargers somehow win this one. I don't know how, given the fact that they can't win close games. And Anthony Lynn's, clock management and game management and end of half game time decisions are very suspect. Cardinals and Rams. Rams are going to be without the services of Jared Goff for this week because of the thumb injury. I'm going to go with the Cardinals here, even though the Rams defense is still good enough to carry them to victory. So it's going to depend on how well Kyler Murray is recovered from his injury at the end of the game last week, whether or not they can actually open up the offense to look better than it has this month. And this should be actually an interesting game with a former AAF star starting at quarterback for the Rams. Seahawks and 49ers, I don't have much to say about this one other than the fact that I think that, Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf are going to do what they need to do in this game to solidify the Seahawks going into the playoffs. The 49ers, I think, will look at this game, their takeaway, if that goes according to what I think is going to happen, they're going to head into the NFL draft being like, we need to shore up the secondary because we have DK Metcalf in this division, we have DeAndre Hopkins in this division, and we have the Rams who throw the ball all over the field to Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and we're going to need a corner to sort of keep up in this division that's going on here. So corner and quarterback will be needs for the 49ers going in the offseason. Seahawks win this game. Next, we have the Saints and the Panthers. Alvin Kamara going on the COVID reserve list makes me wonder what this team is, given the fact that Drew Brees' arm is pretty much dead at this point. So I guess this is a prove-it game for the Saints heading into the playoffs. They're going to need some momentum. I still think they win this game against the Panthers. Titans and Texans. J.J. Watt's speech at the end of the game, the post-game press conference last week, is the stuff of legends. Is it enough to motivate this team to get a win to close out the season at 5-11 against a playoff-bound team in Derrick Henry and the Titans? Boy, I don't know. This team is just so bad. It sucks that Deshaun Watson is in Houston because it would just be a lot more fun to have him somewhere else. So I don't know. Can the Texans beat the Titans? That's a great question. I guess we'll see what J.J. Watt's post-game press conference meant to his teammates. I don't think it's enough. I'm going to go with the Titans. Last but not least, Washington football team is going to beat the Eagles. That is a very good pass defense, a very good pass rush defense with Chase Young against an offensive line made of spare parts and a rookie quarterback who probably shouldn't be starting this early in his NFL career. The Eagles are an interesting team, but I think that they're more interested in looking ahead to the NFL draft and getting a top 10 pick and hopefully landing this sweet guy named Devontae Smith that plays for Alabama right now. So Washington football team will win the division. They'll get in, they'll host a playoff game. Who's going to be their quarterback? We don't know. That's half the fun. So that's going to do it for picking regular season games this year. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.